mute this. I'll sit next to you so it's a little easier.
Sure.
Oh, shit. Good thing that's a bottle.
Come as close as you want, friend.
Ugh.
It is all right. Don't me. I'm attractive. Fuck you.
Season's greetings, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Let's welcome Chris temporarily back to Sketch Watch Play. This is not a numbered episode. This is a pretty impromptu holiday bonus episode. Something I think I'd actually brought this up to you early in the year without you knowing the specifics. But we're recording this and should hopefully have it up before Christmas and other holidays. Happy holidays. Non-denominational holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy winter season. And I told Chris, we're not recording this over Skype. I'm not recording this from my place. I am in the Wade residence. Jonesy the cat is sitting very comfortably next to me. Serena's walking around. You may hear her in the background at certain points, like in the past. She gives the V sign to everybody. And Chris is sitting like a boss next to me. I'm spread out, one leg over the other.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome. Yeah. Merry Christmas. We have a Christmas tree here. We just watched an amazing film. We
just watched a Christmas tree.
Yep.
Next to your Christmas tree. And we watched this thing, a apparently 1991 independent holiday special, The Christmas Tree. And this is actually something, I'm going to say, don't worry about trying to buy a copy. It's on YouTube. Nobody is ever going to bother re-releasing this thing, even though there was a DVD released years ago. Go on YouTube, Christmas Tree 1991, you will find it. Also, if you're into some of the same stuff as us, there's a good chance you may have at least heard of this thing, because it's starting to make the rounds in terms of people who talk about this sort of thing. I first heard of it when Nostalgia Critic made it the subject of a review, and I think he still may consider it the worst holiday special he's ever seen. Another very popular group, Red Letter Media. They do a fun show called Best of the Worst, which is them both reacting and discussing terrible movies. This is one of the only animated things they ever did, and I can tell you a lot of their reactions at certain points were very similar to the ones Chris experienced. And smaller ones like Phaelus, the YouTube reviewer. One of my favorite podcasts, look up the Cartoon Lampoon podcast, which is three guys who are professional animators. They work on stuff like Archer, and they got this requested by both me and several others. And they didn't just point out a lot of stuff we're about to point up and talk about, just try to make sense of it all because of their knowledge of how animation works. So, Chris, I had watched this thing several times, and thankfully you had not seen any of the reviews. You were not aware of what this thing was really, other than Now, I'd also consider another more infamous one now, Rhapsody Street Kids.
Yeah.
Which you actually just watched the original of on your own, you and Serena. And this was you going in completely fresh, and I gotta say, I just on top of your hat, Chris, what are your thoughts, your walkaway thoughts from the Christmas tree?
From the Christmas tree? Well, this is clearly better than Rhapsody Kids. I say that only because Rhapsody is so strange, and it's on its own level.
It is in its own little world.
I guarantee you there are 100, maybe even 1,000 independent animations like A Christmas Tree, the film that we just watched, and they probably weren't released or published or distributed or whatever.
And this was.
But I've seen
judgment.
I've seen a number of these kinds, and I always kind of react. I always have my knee-jerk reactions. I don't really go out looking for them.
I don't either, but because this thing has gained some infamy through critics, I had to watch it for myself, and I was not disappointed. I am a lover of the idea of so bad it's good movies. The Room is a big one. My favorite is still Troll 2. A very underrated one in my book is the Sci-Fi Channel classic Shark Attack 3 Megalodon, one of John Barrowman's first roles.
Right, yeah.
With where he ad-libbed the most amazing pickup line ever. His co-star woman says, "I'm exhausted." He goes, "Yeah, you too, but I'm really wired. What do you say I take you home and eat your pussy?" Cuts to them making out in the shower.
Oh God,
it's amazing. The whole movie is amazing. But and so the Christmas tree, you're not going to find information on this thing because other than its director, basically. Apparently, almost no one else in this has other credits, particularly the actors. And that does not surprise me that this is the only thing these actors did. And we have the credit screen freeze-framed on your TV right now. You'll notice there are several repeating names, like two Beckers, two Dryguses, I believe.
Yeah.
So These weren't actors. These had to be like friends of the crew.
They could be friends of the
guys. You want to be in this classic movie?
Yeah, they could be friends of the crew, or they could be using fake names because they don't want to be attached to this song. That happens. That happens.
Yeah,
sometimes.
but do you think 80s people were like, this will disrupt my promising acting career and talent?
Yes.
Okay, I will grant you, the villain in this is having a lot of fun. I think the villain was pretty competent.
I gotta admit, the villain, who was not staged very well, actually had some pretty bizarre but still pretty fun moments. She was...
You better make sure you don't tell him a thing, or you and your children are out in the cold.
You can definitely tell that was the bad guy.
This is one of the most evil characters you will ever see in anything.
Yep.
She is pure malice incarnate.
She is,
and of course, she's properly punished for that by the end.
Oh boy, is she punished. Well, she's punished and then rewarded?
She is punished in that she's demoted, but otherwise still doing what she did, and I don't get what changed about her other than, we'll get to the ending.
Mm-hmm.
For those who haven't seen it, the idea is, in this very ambiguous time period, the clothes and cars are weird, and like the main mom in this is dressed like an Amish housewife I brought up, and everybody else is dressed like they're in the 50s, or the kids are just like 20 street urchins, like they'd be handing out newspapers, and it's about a bunch of orphans.
Extra, read all about it. Mm-hmm.
Imagine these voices saying anything.
Well, to be fair, and I tend to give child actors the benefit of the doubt here because, number one, they're kids, and of course we have our prodigies. There's prodigies out there, but if you're working on like a shoestring budget, sometimes you just need a 4-year-old saying the line. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying Chris, that you want to get a talent.
It wasn't just the kids, though.
It wasn't just the kids.
The father, the mother, the mayor.
I agree with
Santa.
you 100%. I'm just saying, like, sometimes these kids just don't know how to act.
My favorite
years old.
My favorite has to be the daughter because she is mumbling all through her dialogue.
Oh, boy.
Every time she says Christmas, it sounds she's saying Tristmas. And just
Christmas.
so you'll get lines like, Santa, if you can hear me, my Christmas wish needs to be changed.
And I'm sure...
Santa, if you are listening, I want to change my wish.
I'm very sure that the director was like, man, that is cute.
Oh,
people will love it.
Keep
it's cute.
it.
You can't say
or
Christmas.
They had no money and were like, that's their only take. It's the Tommy Wiseau, Ed Wood philosophy. One take, good, print it.
Oh, Calculon only does one take.
If everybody with this was voiced by Calculon, it would be even better.
If only.
But even if this had an all-star cast like Rhapsody Street Kids or something, it is still written and animated pretty abysmally. These designs.
The designs
The
kids suffer from, I mean,
they are all clones of Elmer Fudd.
Yes, they have a very, very abysmal condition of same face. Like,
and bad face.
Same face on the same child. It's like they copy and pasted, which I'm sure they didn't, but it is exactly the same cheek, the same nose, the same
wrinkles,
same weird
puffy
black
cheeks.
eyes, puffy cheeks.
Everybody has these terrifying eyes. Like they're a little too detailed. They're like black with a gray center, or the other way around.
Yeah, it's like they wanted to put more
detail.
They wanted to give more detail to the eyes, and yet they went dark, then light.
They tried to make them more alive, and they made them look dead. It's the 2D Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
That's hard to do, but props to these guys for unintentionally pulling it off.
They wanted to pull it off. Man, there are several things about this thing.
Several. And even just the adult voice act. Like, I think when you early on, you guys, there's this narrator narrating like the first 3 minutes, and you guys, because Serena watched this with us, and she's sitting next to us right now eating chili mac, I believe, or something.
Beef stew.
Beef stew. Hello, Serena, to the audience, by the way.
Hi.
And you were going like, I guess we're going to get used to hearing this guy over the rest of the special. I was like, no, you're not. And he's one of the better actors.
Well, to be honest, like he was the narrator spoke for so long.
Longer than he should have.
It felt like an eternity. Like if you guys ever want to take a class in how not to deliver exposition, unfortunately, this is the way to not deliver
Exhibit
exposition.
A, the Christmas tree. Right after you say that, Miss Matilda and the dad start talking.
Yeah.
Like I said, Miss Matilda's okay, even though her character is the most... There is no good in this woman. There is nothing redeeming this woman. She exists to inflict pain. And then the dad is like, come from the mayor. I better go now. I will be back before Christmas.
The dad...
We come from the mayor's. I'd better go now. Take good care of yourself and the children, Judy. I will be back before Christmas.
the dad and the wife were literal pod people. I think they took the original
Goodbye,
people.
Ray. You take care of you. That's what you said with their mom first.
Yeah.
That was the first look at the dead eyes and her voice, and that's when you went. That's when it hit you.
I have assumed that they were just like, yes, husband. It is I, your wife.
I brought up that Invader Zim quote. I do not know what you were talking about. I am normal.
I am normal. We are human, like you. oh! It reminded me of this really old and obscure movie called Robot Monster, where the robot monster was just
the MC.
Yeah, some douchebag in a gorilla suit
And a scuba helmet.
Yeah, and a scuba helmet. And he's like, humans, you will bow before the romance.
I am romance.
Oh my god, that's what this reminds me of. That's exactly the way
That's what these parents were like.
Jesus.
And the kids were just all over the goddamn place because, like I said, we had the two main kids who are voiced by kids who don't know what they're doing. Some of the other kids are like that. Then you have that one with the bow, the one you were complaining about, like, how do you not see her? She's sticking her all out from behind the wall, who is voiced by, like, a young adult. And our favorite, this one boy... you are convinced he's the devil.
I'm convinced he's the devil. He talks in a squeaky voice.
I think it's a woman that they modulated chipmunk style.
Yep, they did.
But it is so, like, it does that thing where it just changes sound in between syllable, and you're just like, what is
like,
this?
is this some kind of hellion just disguised as a child?
Your mother?
Red velvet for stockings? What's that?
You know, for a second, I was half expecting to go, remember me, Eddie? When I killed your brother, I talked just like this!
Special guest star, Christopher Lloyd. It was him all along. This is instantly a classic.
Titty rockets just come out of his eyes.
Oh, there's so many ways you could easily have made this thing better.
Oh God! This movie's played really straight too. Like this is a Christmas story.
Except for the fact that the plot goes completely bonkers in the last. The fact that, like, okay, so
yeah, tell us the story.
Mrs. Mavilda, she's mad that the mom is making them happy.
No, the orphans happy? It was the orphans.
The mom, Judy, is making the orphans happy. She's treating them with love and care. I mean, unlike how, at the beginning, we get them onto, she doesn't give them food, and she makes the Thanksgiving dinner all for herself.
Yeah!
And she keeps taking all the money. The mayor just assumes, we didn't talk about the anime child porn at the beginning.
We did not. That was weird.
This stupid mayor, all she does to convince the mayor that she's taking good care of these kids is bring out two of them in pretty clothes, have them just stand there, and he's like, that is great, because that's how the mayor talks. Gives them two bags of money, not a check, not bills, two little handbags.
Two cartooned bags of...
walks away.
I can't even say cartooned bags of money, because they could have been filled with anything. But go on.
Then, nobody leaves, she takes off the shirts of both of them with a boing sound effects, puts them in a hanger. I think Patrina pointed out the hangers were wrong, like they weren't there or something. And then a lingering shot on these two kids in their undies. I was like, now it's an anime.
Oh no, that's child porn. No,
She rips that. Oh God! It was kind of not the smart thing to do, just to have. And they were like in opposite poses too. You'd have to expect.
The girl was stiff, and the boy was like awkwardly covering his nipples.
Yeah.
May I say something?
Yes.
The little girl, she had no shirt on.
Yeah.
She was naked, like she was just in her panties. It
Yeah.
made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's an anime.
The shot just linked. It was like, hey, check this out. I'm like, I don't want to look at this.
Yeah.
Please stop.
You didn't. Maybe they didn't double check this. You think that's a possibility? They didn't pay much attention or didn't take much time to their craft.
This movie has a very bad habit of not going through quality control. And when I say that, I'm just like...
The other part when that I made me go, this is an anime, is when Mavilda makes that phone call to her chubby friend who sounds... The moment he started talking, like, what do you want, Mavilda? I turned to you and went, what are you buying, stranger?
What are you selling?
Because he sounds like that dude, just not British. But then, and there's another point where like, oh no, she's calling her poker friends, and it's just her going like, do you feel lucky? Come over. But it's her. It's like a repeated. She might as well be going, ha ha ha.
It's one mouth flap where it's
one,
just like
one
open,
little
close,
brief
open,
animation.
Close. Yep.
And speaking of mouth animation, they did a big misunderstanding, and maybe that's where all their budget went. Look, and if you're doing old cell animation like this, you do a separate layer when the character is standing still and their mouth is moving. So you don't have to, you can keep the body as it is and not have to do independent drawings. No. These guys redrew the whole body for every mouth shape, except sometimes they didn't redraw the eyes. No. So the eyes were static and the whole body is jittering like an alien.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of There were a lot of issues with this thing.
I kept bringing up this director, Flammarion Ferreira,
Yeah.
the greatest name I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that this starts with a custom title card, Flammarion Ferreira Productions.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a porn name.
I looked it up.
It's a porn name.
I looked it up. This is the only work of Flammarion Ferreira Productions.
I'm not surprised.
But it is not the only work of Flammarion Ferreira. He or she, because you can't find anything about this person online. I did read a YouTube comment, but I can't verify it, where somebody's saying, yeah, I met this guy. He was an eccentric Brazilian fellow. But here are some of the things he has been working on since the, 60s or 70s or whatever. He started at Filmation, where he worked on, I think he worked on stuff like Fat Albert, Their Ghostbusters, Brave Star. He was a storyboard artist on the Tiny Toons movie, How I Spent My Vacation.
Oh, wow, really?
On Tiny Toons itself, Tasmania, a bunch of the Land Before Time sequels.
Well, honestly, I'm more surprised that he storyboarded than he actually worked on anything.
He storyboard on Phineas and Ferb,
Wow.
Pen Zero, the 7D, Mickey and the Roadstar Racers.
Okay, time out. Are we talking about Flamingo?
Flammarion Ferreira. These are
Really?
all. He is still working on Pen Zero, Part-Time Hero. He is still working.
So
But-
I'm guessing that this is something he does not want to be remembered for.
Here's the thing. This is his only directorial credit and his only character design credit.
Okay.
He is mainly a storyboard artist and a background painter.
Well, I
'Cause
guess-
we pointed out some of the backgrounds in this look okay at times. He probably did this himself. And I don't know what the conditions were, because it wasn't written by him. Because I want to bring up Cartoon Lampoon brought up the podcast, the writer, which is Nels Christensen, which I joke, it's Hayden Christensen's dad. Talent runs the family.
Sure.
This is the only writing credit. Same with the voice actors and even some of the animators apparently. But you gotta wonder if somebody met Flammarion and saw that he had credentials and assumed that meant he could make a cartoon all on his own. And Flammarion just went, well, you know what? I'll try it. I'll take that check and I'll try my damnedest.
I'm surprised. It's such a leap going from the animator on the Christmas tree and then going to Tiny Toons How I Spent My Vacation. Tiny Toons How I Spent My Summer Vacation had a lot of really good animation in it.
Like I said, he's primarily a background and storyboard
Yeah.
artist. Not an animator, not a character designer,
well,
and
that's
not a director.
Well, I'm saying that's such a leap going from going from that.
I'm
role.
happy this didn't ruin him.
Yeah, me too.
But it might have been a lesson learned for him because he never directed anything again. He was it was a Wreck-It Ralph lesson of know your place.
Well, maybe this was like a trial by fire for him.
And
then,
judging by what we saw, I think he did not have the most luxurious amount of time or money.
I wonder if any other animators on this got any more credit or got any more
I don't have time to look them all up, but the Cartoon Lampoon guys said that a lot of them was their only credit too.
Oh, man.
There were a lot of amateurs here, and maybe it was a local production. Maybe he just wherever he was making at the time, that's where he found these actors, I'm doing quotey fingers, and these animators, and let's just do it. We can look at Charlie. He's probably I imagine him going I can't do the accent. He's like, guys, look at Charlie Brown Christmas. That was threadbare. That was a bunch of first timers. They made a classic. We can do that. And I'm pretty sure that's what the Rhapsody Street Kids' aim was too. Peanuts for a new generation.
Yeah.
And when you get to the end, when you get to the lesson of this. They just tried to shoehorn the Christmas spirit in there, where it's Christmas is where the grandparents and the parents get together, and then they establish everybody makes wishes to Santa, and I was like, I don't think is that a thing?
I think it is this thing.
I did not do that growing up.
I mean, growing up in a Christian,
I wrote a list
in a Christian household. I wrote my list to Santa, but my parents also beat it into me about not physically beat it into you. I mean, wow, that's a different household. Jesus Christ! It's
anyway.
No, it's they were basically so
they hammered it into your head.
Hammered it into my head. They were you can have Santa, but just know that there's someone who's better than Santa. And I'm like, who is better than Santa? Jesus. And I'm like, does Jesus give presents?
Well,
he gave his
loves you a lot.
He loves you a lot and gave and died for your sins.
And did you say to him well, you love me too?
I'm like, you love me too, but can I have a Nintendo 64
from Jesus?
Yeah, Santa left the household fairly quickly after that conversation.
Well, actually, I gotta ask, did you ever get an N64 for Christmas?
I did.
For Christmas?
Yes.
Were you like that YouTube video?
No.
Nothing's like that YouTube video.
Nothing is like that YouTube video.
There's a reason.
Well, honestly, the only reason it wasn't like that YouTube video is because by that point, I actually paid for the N64 with a third of my allowance.
Me and Patrick, we got it when it came out. We each paid $50, and I think my parents helped with the remaining because it was $200. Maybe we each paid half. I don't remember. It was something like that.
It was either a third or a half. I know I did put
that was the first one where my parents you got to contribute to it with chores and allowances.
I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, tough love. But no, I will say the one thing of that N64 video that does ring true to me is, because that was me every year when I got a big game, was where he's freaking out and he goes, Nintendo 64 and a remote control card.
Oh, God.
That was every time you open your best gift, you have to be very polite with the next one.
Yeah. Oh, socks.
Yay.
Socks. I
thanks,
hated.
Sam.
I hated getting socks.
I'm never
that
like
high.
it. Even if I got them before my favorite gift, I have a billion you already. I've never cared about clothes. I'm not a fashionable guy. I have friends who are, but yeah. But okay.
I like clothes before and after Christmas. Don't muddy my Christmas.
I like that we've gotten so far away from talking about the Christmas tree, but there's still so much I want to talk about.
Okay.
The editing.
Oh, boy.
There's one part in particular where it keeps doing these clock wipes between the poker game and Judy telling this story. It doesn't really need to be that way, and they're like the Mavilda cuts are like 3 seconds, and they keep cutting them off. They start to wipe while people are talking, like, now you're cooking with gas.
There are literally a bunch of meanwhiles. I mean, the narrator doesn't pop...
I was doing that.
Well, I'm saying, like, the narrator doesn't go, like, meanwhile.
You might as well.
Yeah, you might as well at this point, because the mom was, like, talking to the orphans and saying...
Santa's everybody's father. I bet all or nothing.
Yeah, here's all the kids' money. The villain literally says, here's
she says, here goes the children's money again.
Oh, God.
Like, she's used to it. She revels in it.
I'm like, can you at least pay for some vaccines for these kids?
Incarnate isn't that one kid. It's Mrs. Mavilda.
God, I just want this scene to end, and it ends in like 3 seconds. Like, it's literally like goodbye.
No. It ends. You noted when she lost, there was a boing, and you went, "Is she getting an erection?"
There was like this lady who was like, "I'm taking all your money," and
I win.
Boing.
And she goes, "No."
What do you think, Mavilda?
No, I think it's because she was meant to like sit upright in shock, but it was not animated very well.
It was not.
You thought they got girlwood.
The animation was not there, and I assumed that someone was very, very pleased with winning. So it was.
I mean, she could have a penis. I can accept that. I'm open to that.
I mean, it's. Yes, it's really easy to like tackle these shot compositions and tackle like the crazy editing choices.
And the editing does not just rely to cuts; it relies to dialogue. There are multiple points you can tell they just synced in 2 lines. Like when Mavilda is like laying the role, she goes, "Come, children, follow me." Another thing.
Come, children, follow me. Another thing.
Yeah, and another thing. Like, I'm leaving.
And another, or when she's laughing in bed, and she goes like, "Mwah!" And the gash like goes back to a stern expression like 2 frames.
Yeah.
My favorite is this drawn-out conversation of the kids. They start arguing about like the rules of Santa wishes and time, and can they change it, and will it reach the star, and will it work? And they're being really down. Or you're talking about like how bleak it were. Like, it's going to be a long, hard, cold winter. And then Pappy, the main kid. Oh, the fact that the main kid's named Pappy threw me off because my brother Patrick, our nickname for him forever has been Pappy or Patty. So it's like my own brother's his soulless Aryan child, and he goes, "Yes, it's no use. Wait a minute."
Yes, it's no use. Wait a minute.
Switch on a dime.
These kids, unfortunately, do not have very much acting experience. And does it show?
The editing did not help. The animation did not help. The writing did not help.
No.
Nothing helped anything else other than unintentional hilarity.
Except there is that dog who...
Licorice?
Licorice is just an adorable black dog who does not deserve this pain.
An amalgamation of every Disney dog. Because you were saying it's Pongo. I was saying it's Tramp.
I'm saying, and this is not a Disney movie, but I noted that it was Balto because he outright fights a bear. I'm like, what if he's half wolf?
And Serena started quoting Boris.
You both started quoting Boris.
No. I finished it with maybe a wolf kid, and then I went, Luigi, Roger. Bob Hoskins.
It was good stuff. That one scene. Okay, so
no, that was not. It was still.
I was entertained. There was this black dog Licorice is helping the 2 kids
get to the North Pole, and apparently they do because they pull up that map, and you were like, "This is a Hyrule. This is a video game world."
They're trying to.
What planet is this set on?
Yeah, they're trying to look for Santa, and they whip out that strange Hyrule map, and they're like, "We gotta go this way."
And they get a sled somewhere
off routes 270 or whatever the fuck. And they're able to go like upwards. They find a North Pole.
Yeah, they're in this Midwestern looking town. 5 minutes later, they say there's literally a North Pole with a sign, and they've reached it.
Yeah, they've reached the North Pole. No majesty, no
explanation.
No explanation, no circumstance whatsoever, no pomp and circumstance whatsoever. It's just, you're at the North Pole. And then this bear showed up.
Then Baloo shows up.
Then Baloo shows up.
That's pretty much an angry looking Baloo, making lion sounds, you noted. Well, he does one really loud word. I was like, that's fucking terrifying.
It was terrifying. I'm like, that's the...
It's really loud. Like,
Yeah, and I'm like, that's the MGM lion. We're about to watch Tom and Jerry.
no, we ended up watching Wile E. Coyote.
We ended up watching Wile E. Coyote. The dog and the bear...
Trips.
The dog and the bear have it out.
And the dog gets swiped, but he just gets up. He's fine.
Yeah.
Plot armor.
And they just... the bear...
The bear runs at him, trips on the dog, and then just a comical shot. All that was missing was the and falling down a cliff, and he cuts away before the dust cloud.
Yep.
Like, they kill that bear.
That bear's dead.
All right. But also in the process, Lily, the sister, she doesn't fall off this cliff as much, slide down it.
Yeah, for a long time, and they
dwell on, oh, she is dead. She must be dead.
Yeah.
Except for then the mayor goes, organize a search party. We must find the little girl.
So the little girl, after this whole brouhaha with Licorice the dog and the bear who is dead, the little girl slides down the cliff, and her brother Pappy is going to go look for her.
Can't find her.
He is out there for what we assume is hours.
Well, it's nighttime, and then that Emotional Lily, where'd you go?
Lily.
You may not have noticed this, but there's a wide shot of Pappy yelling for Lily, and he's trying and whoever is doing the sound editing is trying to make it sound like that there's an echo in the background.
Yeah.
But they keep it on the same level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they also sync the animation to the echo.
I missed that. Oh my god!
And I was like, wait a minute.
This isn't just another world. This is another dimension. This thing takes place. And echoes work.
I'm done. I can't talk anymore about this.
There
thing.
were so many times you were close to, you wanted to give up.
I wanted to give up. I do, because
you were lying down. You had your head in your hands. You just couldn't even make a scream anymore.
This was obviously not executed very well, and I think a lot of people knew that at the time. But it's pretty. It's not hard to imagine this thing was kind of rushed, or it seems.
You think?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Maybe.
Like I don't work on this thing. I don't know what these people had to go through, and I feel really sorry that I'm kind of trampling over their names
that
about
podcast
this.
I mentioned, they said Flammarion Ferreira. If somebody else in the animation industry knows Flammarion Ferreira, please have me in touch with us. We want to know the story of this because we bet it's fascinating.
Yeah, I actually want to know what's going into this. Did he just have an idea? Did he just want to run with? Because
with how little we know about this, with how much we have to theorize, this is a real creepypasta.
Mm-hmm.
This is Candle Cove in real life. We don't know what made this thing what it is.
This is
we can only theorize.
With all the YouTubers that are basically talking about this thing,
and podcasters,
it might as well be a legend in its
this
own
thing.
right.
This is one of the reasons I want not just to expose you to its wonder, but because I think people seek this out. If you love bad, it's so bad it's good. This is a treasure.
Yeah.
I adore this movie.
I'm actually not a big fan of So Bad
I
It's
can
Good.
tell.
Yeah, well, no, when it came to Rhapsody, actually a friend of ours was threw it to us, and we saw a meme.
You watched the whole thing previously. Both of you.
Yeah,
and that was more tolerable to you.
That was actually, I thought it was more worse than this. Honestly.
I don't. On a technical level, yes. On other levels,
the fact that there are actual
recognizable actors,
experienced actors in it, did not make it better for me.
It makes it more surreal, if anything. Because it's got a terrible story and literally the worst animation ever anywhere.
I mean, because that tells me the same thing that these guys have to go through. They had to get a paycheck.
I mean,
Walter Jones is in there. Mark Hamill's in there.
I thought you were talking about this one. No. I think these were just like, I'll be in it. These relatives,
and that's happened before. But I'm sure that they were like, this is going to be a big thing, or it's someone like, I don't know, Ellie Dragus, or actually, she's a little girl. That doesn't matter.
But her mom played the mom character. I assume it's her mom or aunt or something.
Yeah,
like, I'll bring in my daughter. She'll be great.
I'm sure they got compensated.
And they were listening. Oh, it's adorable. That'll work out so well.
I'm sure they got compensated. But even okay.
I am talking about the quality of their finished work, not their compensation.
Well, I'm talking about I'm lumping all of that in. All of that shit in.
It's funny. I don't see either cats nearby, and they might have fled like these guys are getting worked up. What is going on?
Well, I mean, I've had so many knee-jerk reactions watching this thing, and most of them were hilarious.
And I recorded the whole thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna intersperse it into this episode, and I might either put it out, I'm gonna try, once I start editing this thing, I'm gonna figure out either put it after this episode in the file, or as a separate bonus thing, or on YouTube. I don't know.
But at the same time, I can't say some, I can't say most. All of the mistakes that we see that are clearly bad are clearly entertaining because, yes, it's so bad, it's good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even beyond that, the feeling that I felt through all this is secondhand embarrassment because I kind of know what it's like to work on
You felt bad for the people who worked on this?
Yeah, because I know what it's like to work on something like this, and it turns out not
Yeah.
good.
You were saying because you worked on some pilots that never got finished or premiered that were like, you could kind of get, you think you went through a similar process?
Yeah.
Guys, we said before, we'll say it again. Animation is hard.
Animation is hard as balls, guys. and I get it. I've worked with directors who are like, we gotta make this character design. And I'm like, but this character design is stereotypical as hell. And they're like, but I like it.
In the case of this, the character designs were all abysmal. All the kids had the same face.
They're all designed.
The adults looked dead, like dead zombies. Mm-hmm. All the kids look like Elmer Fudd. I don't think we brought that up. It is literally like a little Elmer Fudd, sometimes in drag.
We have to touch. I mean, I don't think
there are a few things I want someone to touch. But go ahead.
I have to touch on the fact that, all right, yes, there are clear limitations to what the animation could do here, and the editing is abysmal. Wow, the easiest thing a director can do is to compose their storyboards and their writing to make things easier for the animators,
to make them flow properly.
To make them flow properly,
Timing.
and if there's any problems later on during production, they can say, we got to take an extra stab at this. We got to do this over.
But
we got to rework this.
If you hire someone best done for storyboard and background to like almost one-man show this thing,
sometimes,
guess what?
Yeah, it's not going to turn out so great.
And I'm not saying Flammari Ferrari is incompetent. Looking at his body of work, I don't think he is. I think he was forced out of his comfort zone, and I don't know how or why, but
I'm speculating because like I said, I don't know what the circumstances are and what happened.
I think there were a lot of circumstances.
But when it comes to writing, and we're going to note this in the ending of the goddamn film, the writing is not there.
One thing I want to touch on, because we were flipping out because of how you were misunderstanding lines. The villain comes with this plan where she calls the thug, and she's saying something like, "Use your fast fingers." I know.
Oh God!
And then she said something like, "Just put it in. Just put it right in.
Put it in the bag."
You screamed.
Put anything you want inside.
What?
No. In the bag.
Oh. They're okay.
You missed what she was talking about.
So the villain is basically trying to frame the mother who is working in the house for the orphans.
Have her drive up, run an errand to her colleague. While she's there, he sneaks one of his things into her bag. And she says, "Wait an hour and call the police." Then you'll think she's wrong.
Yeah. All right. In the middle of this, there's a little girl watching, and I'm going to get to that in a second.
Oh man, you flipped.
But the villain is basically trying to frame the mother, and she got
her fired.
Unfortunately, the phrasing is not great.
That's what I just said.
Yes, and essentially she's like, "You got to use your fast fingers." I'm like, "Why?
Put it right in there.
You got to put it in the bag."
I was bringing up like they have a history together. These two,
yeah.
Like I was like, you know what? I think there's lore here. There must be a Christmas Tree expanded universe and a fan base and the deep lore of Mrs. Mavilda.
You are going too deep. If I'm taking this at face value, they're role-playing over the phone. They're having phone sex. That is exactly what is happening.
That's the lore.
They're like, wait an hour and then call the police.
I mentioned Mrs. Zober. Should we look up Christmas Tree Rule 34?
I don't want to do that.
Not with these character designs.
Not with these character designs, and not with... Whew, there is too much that could go wrong.
Also, have to ask the children. There's already basic kiddie porn in this.
Yeah, it's kind of problematic.
All right, guys,
it's not what they wanted to do, but yeah.
Let's talk about the ending because I kept typing up for you. No, this isn't crazy yet. You gotta wait. You gotta see how they wrap this up. Where she's about to chop down the tree with the electric chainsaw. The son shows up and is like, "Mommy!" And the dad pops up out of nowhere. He just runs into frame like, "What happened? What happened to the daughter?"
Yeah, the father who was in the beginning of the film, who showed up literally
for the last 3 minutes,
35 minutes or whatever.
He is completely inconsequential.
He is gone. There is no reason why he should be in the story until that moment.
No, there's no reason why he needs to be in the story. Period. It would have changed.
Yeah. And he
for him to make a joke, it doesn't make any sense at the end.
And he just shows the fuck up.
So
and it's like
my favorite 2 seconds of animation is what happened. He goes, this is the first time they're hearing about it. He goes, "She fell off the cliff all the way down." And I'm going to do the response right now. It is, their eyelids are half lidded. None of them move to the eyelid. They go up for a second, they go back down. There's no utterance. There's no, "Oh my God," it's just, and then the mom does go, "Oh, my poor baby."
Oh, my poor baby.
And then they get back to then she gets right back to telling the mayor, "Mr. Mayor, here's what's going on with the tree. Mrs. Hopewell."
I'm like, your daughter is possibly dead. Quick,
they are possible.
Tell me, what is the name of your daughter? What does she look like? Have you seen her before?
Well, you see, if you look at this tree, I
don't think you know how to raise children.
And her plan before the mayor shows up was to get the kids and form a human shield. And I started going, "We shall not be moved.
We shall overcome."
And Mrs. Mavilda is telling the thug, cut right through him. I don't know how this movie would have ended if the mayor didn't happen to be driving by.
I think Madam Trunchbull or whatever her name is was gonna like saw him in half.
I wish.
God, now that's a villain.
That's an awesome villain. Put her in this movie. And
Put her in. This movie would have been 10 times better.
There's that one shot I noticed where she goes right off model. I'm cutting her down for firewood. And we all went, what the fuck? You should put the trench poles in there. Fresh meat.
I have to admit that the designs were pretty consistent
Except when they weren't.
Except where they weren't, and that happened like 5 times. And one of those times is when the villain gets really close to the camera. And you see
detailed animation.
Yeah, and you see like all of her teeth.
Her proportions get way too realistic.
This happens with Santa too.
Oh my god! Well, okay, the ending. So they're explaining everything. And then they're like, "Where's Mrs. Mavilda?" And the mayor's like, "Mrs. Mavilda, we'll come to my office tomorrow morning. You've got some explaining to do." Then she pops up and snatches the chainsaw and is like, "See that woman?" The guy runs toward her and she's like, "No!" But she gets the chainsaw.
Yeah, like holy shit!
She starts to swing. The kids go, "Oh no!" And then, out of nowhere, a bolt of lightning comes directly to Miss Mavilda.
A literal act of God.
She flies off screen, and then there's this guy going, "What happened?" And it's my favorite bit character because it's a woman, but she sounds like one of the Monty Python women in drag. I don't know. She got struck by lightning.
I'm like, yes.
And some other man saw that. Girl, look at that. Santa flies in from the North Star. It was him all along.
It was Santa. And it's weird because I called that. That exact
You said 5 minutes earlier, like,
and
Santa saves the day.
Yeah, and I was still not prepared for a lightning bolt.
It is one of the most out of the blue things you can imagine. Nothing like this has happened up to this point.
There has been no weather in this movie except for that literal bolt of lightning.
It's a parts where it's summer and then it's winter all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I'm like, there is no
in the
snow.
scene where the mom is telling the story of Christmas, of Santa, it cuts outside in summer. When she's finished, it's winter.
I can't.
It's an alien planet.
It's an alien planet.
We were talking about the Santa. Turns out he found Lily. She was in the sleigh and she hops out.
That's a lie because Lily was there. There's a shot.
No, it's reused. So they all gasped when they just that freaky. I'm cutting down for firewood. I noticed. I went back and compared it. So they just reused that and didn't bother. Like, she's there. Oh, whatever.
Yeah. It wasn't a lot of double checking here.
And then, so Santa does 3 things. He drops off the daughter. He fries Lily. He shoots more magical dust that gives the kids the new clothes they want so bad. 4, he flies away, and we get a proper explanation for how Santa can go around the world. He just shoots each present off in a parachute, and it goes down the chimney. Okay.
I'm like, you didn't account for wind shear? He's that good, ladies.
And did you notice his voice?
Yeah, it sounded like it was pitch shifted.
It's the opposite of the alien show. It's like shifted to sound like a demon, like, please I'm
like, are you okay?
And yet, that is not the most terrifying thing about Santa.
No,
when Lily
it's
turns
not.
behind, we get like a half-second shot. Chris, what did we see?
We saw a near photorealistic Santa just winking at the camera. And it's like the most horrifying, jarringly terril thing.
It's going to be the thumbnail for this episode, I guarantee
I hope so.
Nothing sums up the Christmas tree quite like as much.
And the kid and the little girl who legit almost died earlier.
But he saved her somehow.
Winks back. It's like the most totally different thing.
They could have put in that Simpsons joke. I thought you were dead.
Nope. I thought you were dead. Nope. I was.
Oh man, maybe off-screen Santa found the body.
Maybe.
And they used Christmas magic.
Of course, that's the only thing that...
Oh my god, I got it! Jesus showed up and used his resurrection powers off screen.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. If only they explained that in exposition, I would have felt better about it, but they didn't. So I have to use my dumb brain and I try to figure it out myself.
The end. After things are happy, they decide that the mom, Judy, will be the new orphanage, and Dad says a joke that fails because he gets his numbers wrong. Like, no, we'll be raising 7 kids. And you point out, she's like, 7? You're like, I can't birth that many children. No, he says 9 because he points over to them and the orphan kids. 7 kids total. You got your math wrong in the script. Yes. There were 7 kids looking at you, Final Product. You didn't go back and read. God damn it.
He didn't go back.
It's already a lame joke, and that makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That kind of thing does happen in modern day animation.
Yeah, it's
movies. It's tough to get that shit right.
Here's the closing. Here's the closing. And the moral and the epilogue. Miss Matilda walked out from behind a building. She's fine. She is physically fine, but she seems very humbled. I think the lightning, maybe it struck some sense into her. I don't know.
I think
And the mom walks over, and she was thinking of like lifting her up with her fingers, her face, and I just went, make out!
Oh yeah, totally. Like that lightning bolt like turned her into a different person, or it just zapped the evil out of her.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it turned her gay.
Oh, it could have, obviously, because they were legit look like...
She looks at Judy and goes, put it in.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
Use your fast fingers.
Well, me with my clearly 13-year-old brain saw that happen, and the mom just takes her by the chin ever so tenderly.
And then just goes, come celebrate with us.
My brain was just like...
Oh, no.
My brain was like, nah, y'all need to do something. That's not where this was going. Nah. It was the weirdest thing to have done that. And
you imagine the sexy ending.
I imagine...
Actually, it's not the sexy ending because it's Mrs. Matilda.
I imagined the Pornhub ending. That's what I imagined.
I do not want to see anything pornographic associated with cartoon. These designs, no. None of them.
Oh, yeah.
Have to cast the children, too.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about this.
Okay, no. So they forgive her. And then the rest of the ending is just a faraway shot with that narrator coming back. Mm-hmm. Like, so the parents decide to work at the orphanage and care for the children, and then Mrs. Matilda, and then, I love this, Mrs. Matilda, don't worry about Mrs. Matilda. She's fine now. In fact, I hear she went to work as Judy's assistant. Ha, ha, ha. Don't worry. She's good now, because, actually, no, we'll get to more in a second, but it's like, they say it like we were supposed to be worried about Mrs. Matilda all along.
I was not worried. I was hoping, like, me and Serena Serena was like, yeah, I hope she's dead. And I'm like, I said it.
When is she going to rot in a jail cell?
Yeah.
Because they admit every horrible thing. Her entire existence is devoted to actively, consciously making these children suffer. Like, she never told them about Christmas. She's like, I'm betting the children's money again. Yeah. One of my favorites at the beginning when it shows she gave them no food, and then it shows, like, her table's like a Thanksgiving dinner, and she's just like, yeah.
Yeah, she was really happy about it.
She is the most evil that you can get.
She was pretty happy about making those kids miserable.
They took her right back, and she's good now, because Santa bolted her. But
I'm thinking that there is, like, a hidden DLC to this film. Where
a direct-to-video sequel.
Yeah, direct-to-video sequel where we saw, like, in the span of that 10 seconds where she got zapped by lightning and Santa came and saved the day, that there is a hidden storyline where Mrs. Matilda, whatever the hell her name is, Mavilla, goes through like a giant 3-chapter character arc where she learns the meaning of Christmas, and then she comes back and she's like, she's
in a time warp.
Yeah, I've learned the error of my ways.
The expanded lore of the Christmas story, it has to be a thing out there. It's just so obscure. We haven't found it yet.
That lightning bolt put her into another dimension.
When we discover it, this will all make sense.
Yeah.
And then the last line, the moral. So the narrator says, don't worry, she's good now. She learns that you always win when you are good. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Is that the moral of the story?
Don't worry about Mrs. Matilda. She's good now. She learned that you always win when you are good. Merry Christmas, everybody.
That's what we were building up to, and that's so true. You look at current events, you always win when you are good. That's the moral. That's real life.
But she wasn't good. She won.
But she's good now.
No, she was bad through that entire
won when she became good? She won because she became good?
No, I mean, she literally did nothing. Like, she just walked from behind a house, and you're left to wonder, did she become good? And the mom's like, yeah, that's good enough. And you're like, how? How is that good enough?
Just discussing this special is breaking me like it broke you watching it.
It's bad. It's bad writing.
It's bad everything. Writing. It's bad everything.
Yeah, it is. And
a few backgrounds. Serena, did you like that music at the beginning, or were you being sarcastic?
I did not think that it was bad. I was just like, this isn't terrible,
but it sounds very synthy, cheap Casio keyboard.
It was very, very bad.
A lot of this stuff is from the time that it was made, and clearly not everyone...
It's every possible problem amped to 11.
Well, clearly not everyone here is a Disney animator, but at the same time... Yeah.
Or an editor, or director.
Or
a voice actor.
Or many things.
All right, well, that's the Christmas tree, everybody. So, Chris, would you recommend people watch the Christmas tree?
Only if you like pain.
Okay, Serena, would you recommend people watch the Christmas tree?
If you want to kill yourself after, sure.
I recommend you watch the Christmas tree.
I recommend you watch the Christmas tree if you want to learn how not to do exposition. How not to...
If you want to study animation and get an example of how not to do anything in 2D cell animation...
How not to do things. How not to... How
animation, design, editing, timing,
if you want to create
writing,
if you want to create varied character designs, here's how not to do them.
Especially for children.
Especially for kids.
But me, I adore this thing. If I list those movies, you were like, oh yeah, Troll 2, The Room, Megalodon. Watch this. This is the best cartoon equivalent I've seen so far.
Awesome.
Rhapsody, I can't even say that for Rhapsody. It has moments, but that hurt me.
Wow. I mean, the only reason why Rhapsody did not hurt me, it kind of helped that it wasn't really that long.
Well, it is also fascinating. Rhapsody is fascinating in a way that literally no other animated cartoon is. It is really the worst looking thing you will ever see.
I mean, I wouldn't watch it again.
No.
But, I mean, it's still like... It still bugs me, like, knowing that there is a complete musical sequence, and it was done by who? It was done by Bell, was it?
Yes, Paige O'Hara, look at me.
Yeah.
And you see the visuals they do for it.
And you're like, the music is actually not bad, but what is this animation that's
and the
happening
character
at the
is
same
horrible.
time?
That character's a bitch.
Really,
I hated her.
Like, she's really, like, she is...
She's not
you
as
may,
Matilda,
You may be book smart, but you sure are stupid. And I'm like, yes, that is the exact thing I was thinking.
Tell him, Zach. Tell him, Rock Manager.
That was very satisfying.
It really was.
Most satisfying part.
And then 5 minutes later, she's going to the nice area going, Santa Claus. Doing that awkward run up.
What run was that? Just like, oh boy, are you okay?
We're not going to turn this into a Rhapsody episode, but I will say one of my favorite things about the animation is how they animated laughter, where it was just their top half spazzing and flying out. Anyway, moving on from horrible Christmas specials, there was one other thing I wanted to do in this episode, and me and Chris worked it out, and I took a picture of mine. I don't know if you need to pull yours up. We are going to do our favorite pieces of media and things related to Sketchwatch Play for this year. Now, it goes without saying that this year was a rerun of 2016 in terms of current events, and that it was a fucking dumpster fire.
Yes, it was.
But I feel like, honestly, the media we got, the pop culture, was better than average, and we got some really good choices. So,
well, can I note on a couple of things before we do?
Yes, go for it.
Because my habit when it comes to animated films when they come out in theaters is to avoid them entirely unless they're like done by the big guns.
Okay.
Like the Lego Movie was obviously pretty doggone surprising.
You skipped it and you I think you said you regretted it?
No. The Lego Movie I actually saw,
Okay.
but I was getting ready to skip it.
Yeah.
And it was really surprising. And that was years ago.
Everybody's surprised by it.
But most things that, are done by like Blue Sky and everything else, only because they usually do like Minions or something.
Well, that's Illumination, but yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. Like,
I lump Illumination and Blue Sky and DreamWorks in with I won't go see it unless it sounds exceptional in the reviews.
There you go. But
Or Kung Fu Panda.
But you know what? I wound up seeing Trolls, and that was actually pretty good.
You know what? I have not seen it yet, and I have no excuse because it's on Netflix, but I keep hearing over because the promotion for that was terrible. They made it look like awful.
Almost
everybody saw was saying this is surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And I like the visuals in the trailer.
The visuals are amazing.
The environments are very un-DreamWorks.
Yeah.
And the character designs.
They're very...
Like, you compare it to, like, Boss Baby, which is, like, the most stock-looking DreamWorks thing.
Stock Baby is very...
Stock Baby? That's going to be the sequel. Stock Baby! iPhone's a broker now.
I'm going to get to the Boss Baby in a second. Trolls was really surprising.
Okay.
I heard Storks was really surprising.
Okay, you know what? I watched half of Storks, and it was very hit or miss for me. It would do something that would crack up, and then I would roll my eyes at. But I will say, I love the style that... it was Warner's new animation style, and that between that and I saw the trailer for the next movie, Small Feet or whatever, the Bigfoot one. Have you seen that with Channing Tatum?
I've seen that.
Their visual style is awesome.
Yeah,
it's almost a little Sony like that, and Sony Pictures Animation. The way they design humans, I love more than like most DreamWorks. Not just the flavor, just the proportions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a nice round, cool cartoony style. I think Genny Kartovsky has kind of influenced these two in a good way.
Yeah, definitely.
But so you mentioned Trolls, but were you getting anything else?
There's Trolls. I haven't seen Storks yet myself, but there was Boss Baby. And at the time, we were doing Ghost in a Shell. And Ghost in a Shell lost to Boss Baby.
We joked about that.
Yeah.
And Colin said, yes, we live in a world where that happened.
Yeah. I take everything bad I said about Boss Baby, because it is legit good.
Did you see it?
I saw it recently. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
And I saw it at a friend's house, and we were discussing some animation work. And we sat down and we watched it, and I'm like, holy shit, this actually is not bad.
Was it funny?
It was funny. They do things to babies that I constantly joke about on a day. Me and Serena make terrible jokes about babies.
There were gags in the trailers that did make me laugh, but I just thought as a whole, like, this context is too stupid to work.
The marketing does not make it work.
And the reviews were mediocre. But...
Well, the commercials did not do it justice.
No.
The fact that...
actually, we mentioned Zootopia. That movie looked like it was going to be nothing. And it's one of our favorite movies ever.
It didn't look like it was going to be much, but I was really surprised by Zootopia, and I wound up seeing it anyways. And I know you're about to touch on the Zootopia comic in a second.
Actually, I will tell you right now, the last episode I recorded with Mark, we touched about that on that comic for 5 minutes. I mean, we can touch on it again if you want, but we should get to this.
I don't want to do that.
People Google Zootopia, I Will Survive comic.
Oh, God.
And then you'll regret it, but you'll love it at the same time.
Okay, I won't talk about it here.
But sorry, getting to the Boss Baby, like, what's your list about, are you going to get to your favorite movie of this year?
Yeah. Having said that, having sat down through a couple of things, I was really surprised by animation this year. Like super surprised.
There were still a lot I haven't seen, because just a lot of it just didn't look interesting to me. I didn't hear good things about Despicable Me 3. I don't know if you saw that.
Who?
Despicable Me 3.
Oh, I actually, and I say
I didn't hear good things.
I say all these glowing things about animation that I will normally skip. But Despicable Me is a franchise that I normally skip.
It feels like it's hit Ice Age status now.
It feels like that I've seen them all.
They're just going to crank them out. I like the first one.
Yeah,
Minions was mad, but did you? Okay, what are others you wanted to bring up in that case? I feel like you were going down something.
Let's see. I saw Thor Ragnarok, which isn't technically animation, but has enough special effects and animation where
Marvel
it's like,
movies.
Yeah, where it's like, hey, I see the Hulk now. That's amazing. Thor Ragnarok was actually pretty fun.
I know you said you wish there was less of a focus on humor. You tweeted about it.
It's a little disingenuous, like
compared to the first two, especially.
Especially compared to the first two. Like I'm not a fan of the Thor mythology, but if you're a fan of the Thor mythology,
you might be pissed.
You recognize that things are off about these characters.
The first 40 minutes is literally we're throwing almost like 90% of that away.
Have you seen Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say that
that's one or two long. We got a whole list.
Okay, well I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, but I'll essentially say that
if you haven't listened to my Tyrone episode, the first half is already out when we record this. I'm at the second up there. We did a spoiler talk on Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Okay, so essentially Thor Ragnarok starts out with Thor doing the basic DreamWorks Pixar kind of exposition narration.
This is me.
You're probably wondering how I got into this situation.
Hello, big Clancy Brown demon.
Yeah, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, are we really doing this? And not to say that it wasn't fun, but it also wasn't.
I was okay with it.
Yeah, I mean,
but okay. So Chris, should we start going back and forth or?
Well, if we're still talking, if we're still on my end,
yeah. What was your favorite movie of this year?
Favorite movie of this year was Coco.
Absolute good choice,
hands down.
You haven't heard. Nobody's heard it yet. Me and Mark did a discussion of it. It had to be. I made it spoiler free because one, it was so pretty new, and two, he hadn't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. But I'll say this: how hard did you cry?
I did not cry. I do not cry at movies, John. However, this one did.
You said that people crying in movies gets to, and there were people crying in this movie.
This movie did not make me cry.
Did it move you though?
It did move me.
Okay, Serena, how hard did you cry?
I was crying by like halfway through.
Oh, okay.
Pretty hard.
I saw this with Patrick, my brother, previous guest, and now I don't. Let's not give anything away here because this is not a Coco spoiler cast. No. Now the bridge between the second act and third act throws two big twists that connect to each other and change everything. I had called one way in advance regarding a certain character who becomes like the main character's sidekick pretty much, has his own agenda. I was like, oh, this is really obvious. What I did not guess was everything else that was connected to that really did fundamentally change everything and then drive the point home and tie everything together. So when they had that shared revelation, it was funny. I started tearing up when they realized that because you get a flashback that puts another thing in, like the lullaby. I'll leave it at that. That was when I first started tearing up. And then, the end of the movie is where everybody gets it, where you get, after the proper climax has happened, that big something, it's a very subdued event, but everything hinges on it. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, not only was I just tears streaming down my face, I noticed at the same time, Patrick, out of the corner of my eye, he took his glasses off and was wiping his eyes. Then, when you think you're recovered, that last song, I'm just going to say the character Hector, something happens and he gets this perfectly animated expression. And from that point forward, I would just cry. It was the kind where I was going like...
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but now that I'm older, I guess. Now
you know how I felt with Toy Story 3 and
I know exactly. I know exactly.
When you feel the emotions, you just don't cry.
Yeah, crying films don't really do that much for me as much as they used to.
So why is Coco your favorite film of the year?
Coco's my favorite film of the year because if you're an experienced writer, you take into account that the audience is much smarter than it realizes it is.
You just took time to the twists?
I'm talking in terms of not only the twist, but in terms of formula. The Coco starts out very formulaic.
Yeah, I bring up that I'm sick of every Disney or Pixar movie being the parents like, you can't do this one thing, you can't go to this thing.
Yeah, it's like, but Dad, I have a dream. You can't have a dream. You're a human. She's a mermaid. And it always...
Mark brought that up. I was like, you can't leave the tower, Rapunzel. You can't leave the gates, Elsa. You can't go to the surface, Ariel. Kind of Zootopia. You can't be a cop, Judy.
Yeah, you can't do
Moana.
This.
You can't go to the ocean.
You can't go fight the war, Mulan.
You can't go beyond light touches, Simba.
You have to follow.
Like, stop.
We all realize what these moments are. We can see them beat by beat.
I think I know what you're getting to, but
yeah,
go ahead.
It's not the fact that Pixar pulls a 180 and is like, ha, we got you, but it's the way that it's executed. It's a way where it's like...
The fact that still ends up being very important and tied to the film's emotional crux.
Mm-hmm. Even at the point where... Even if you can guess what is happening before it happens, you still get it. You still see that it's still executed in a way where it resonates very well with you.
Yeah, and the lead up is great too. It's a funny film. It's paced very well. I think it is... I still think Inside Out is Pixar's most visually imaginative film, but this is the most atmospheric.
Yeah.
This is not just a flashy world. When you go in, they spend a lot of time in buildings, in alleys. It feels like a real civilization.
This is something that I noted as we were walking out the film, and it's one of the reasons why I did not like Inside Out that much. I was kind of okay with it, but
as long as you don't hate it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I didn't get the same emotional vibe from Inside Out.
It's a different kind of emotion.
Yeah, well, it's a sense where the world was much more alive in Coco than it was in Inside Out.
Yes.
When I got in Inside Out, when we got into what's her face's head,
Riley.
When we got into Riley's head, there were characters inside of that world who did not legit want to be there. They were afraid of the world. There were builders or construction workers there who were just
It's their job.
it was just a job.
It's a living.
And I'm like, if you guys don't feel excited about this world, why should I?
And but The Land of the Dead in this is fun.
Yeah, I mean,
especially because you catch it in the middle of like festivals and concerts. And stuff.
Yeah, and some of the things. I mean, there were things that happened like the change in the visual design, or Scoop and Lagoop de Goop, or whatever died later on. The elephant dude, who was
Bing Bong,
who died.
Scoopa Lagoopa Goop.
Sorry,
are you thinking of Kusa Lagoopa?
Yeah, I'm referencing Powerpuff Girls. Yes.
No, that's Sister's Lab. God, you call yourself a cartoon geek.
No, they did in Powerpuff Girls too.
He popped up in a thought bubble one episode.
Yeah. But it was originally Dexter's Lab.
Voiced by Dom DeLuise. How can you forget that?
Well,
Don Bluth's right-hand man.
I'm not going that far. Right. But anyway, I'm going too far. But what I'm saying is that Coco felt more alive and at home with me. And that's a subjective response.
Felt more believable as an actual world. Yes.
But that's subjective. But objectively, I think it did more. And I think it did more with hitting at home with audiences.
One reason it might be a bigger tearjerker is because the twist I'm talking about, it's a darker movie than most Pixar. When you, I guess by normal movie standards, it's not that dark, but when you get the full story, like, I was kind of horrified that I can't really give any details.
Yeah.
And maybe some people will be able to guess that thing, but I didn't. I thought this one plot thread and certain things were going to be like superfluous, just a red herring.
Yeah.
Instead,
it's a total red herring, but it's executed very well.
But it's not a red herring because it's important to the plot in a different way.
Well, it's definitely saying, here's the thing.
I'll tell you this. Have you seen Last Jedi yet?
No.
I saw that with Patrick opening night. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I'm pissed that the fans are so angry about it online. But I love that movie. It's the best Star Wars movie in ages because it doesn't play it safe and standard. It does. I
did hear that it does take some risks.
There are some things in this from Force Awakens that there have been so many fan theories about, and in the end they prove to be total red herrings.
See,
and there's it hasn't been about this.
And see, I'm going into this movie clearly. I'm going into Last Jedi very blind and not attached to what Star Wars is and what it's supposed to be.
Going blind, but remember the lead up from Force Awakens.
That's all I'm taking from it.
Okay, so anything else you want to say about Coco?
Go watch it. I'm totally coming at this from
a story point of view.
Well, I'm talking about Coco in a way where I'm downplaying it at the same time.
You're downplaying the emotional stuff that people felt, at least the crying.
Yeah, essentially, don't walk into it expecting to cry. Walk into it expecting to have a good time, because you will. There's good music, there's good designs, there's good atmosphere, and there's a good message. At the same time, it's a little more than what it appears to be. So yes. I think you're in for quite the ride if you're going to go see Coco soon.
Yes, I had more to say about Coco in my podcast with Mark, so eventually you'll hear that. So you want to go my turn
for favorite
movie?
Yeah,
mine might divide some people. I don't care. I got to be true to myself.
No, give
and this is a movie that was generally liked. I didn't see a lot of people love it, but I'm going to go out and say it. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the best time I had at the movies this year.
I still have not seen that.
Now, granted, the reception was generally positive, but I got the sense that it was more in a sense of like Iron Man 3. Like, it's really good, but it's not as good as the first. Patrick felt that way too. He adores the first, and he really liked the second, but it did not quite click for him the same way. I think my parents were on equal. I just showed it to my parents. They're not Marvel diehards in general, but they seem to be on equal terms with the first. I love the first already. This second, the smart thing about it. It does what a good sequel should with its characters, in that now that the introduction's out of the way, they're not just going to rehash their plots or conflicts. They're going to build on it in new ways. Like, we know the plot thread is that Peter discovers his father, but there's also stuff to that in that they take Nebula from the first movie, such a one-note bitchy character, and flesh out what her deal is with Thanos and Gamora, and you actually feel bad for her and understand why she's so fucked up, and you're unsure of where she's going to go in the next couple of movies. And you understand Gamora too, and you get more of a sense of why Rocket is such an asshole and why he's so angry, what his end game is. Even smaller characters that you liked in the first movie, like Yondu. This is Yondu's moment to shine, and you get more of his life story, you get more of his dilemmas and turmoils, and by the end you see the kind of person he really is and that the others have failed to see up to this point. Ego, the dad character, is Kurt Russell. His performance is great. His concept is so imaginative, and what he brings to the plot as it goes on is... It really, I thought, like, it's one of my favorite climax. It may be my favorite climax of a Marvel movie, because even though you can say maybe the first two Avengers were technically flashier, this one's still really flashy, but this movie it's not only one of the most consistently funny Marvel movies like the first one was, like, I was howling at so many points, and it has a good twist that some might see coming. I did not, and I found it very impactful. The end of this movie is the first time I cried at a Marvel movie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I don't know if everybody else did. I think you're going to feel some emotion at it. You might not cry. And I can't say why without literally spoiling the entire second half and end. But it's cathartic. It ends things on, even when things are done, it ends on a more bittersweet than triumphant fun note. Like the last Marvel series you'd expect. And it makes me so happy that James Gunn and these writers have realized, like, these aren't just outlandish characters, they're tragic characters. They all have had some really heavy trauma happen to them, and a lot of this is them dealing with new ones, and starting to grow, and while wrapping around some of the best visuals, imaginative ideas, and, like I said, humor and pacing. And the only downside for me is, what I feel is maybe the only major downside of Last Jedi, is that I feel like whatever comes back next is inevitably not going to be as good for me.
Yeah, well... We'll see.
Yeah, we will see, but I will say I've revised my ranking. This gets in front of Iron Man. The only MCU movie I like more is Winter Soldier.
Cool.
And I'm starting to think that, like, I love that for that its intensity and darkness. I'm thinking that could be a fluke now, because Civil War was more of like an Avengers movie, and I'm guessing Infinity War will be the same way, but that's what's special about it. All right, next category, and I'm going to have to battle this. Chris, what is your favorite TV show that you watched this year?
My favorite TV show is still Steven Universe,
which I need to watch more. I've only watched the first 6 or so episodes.
It is great.
It is great. I'm only early in. I know it gets better.
Yeah. I noted already that the first season is not my favorite thing in the world, but by the time
that's good for me. By
the time season 2 and 3 jump in, it is fantastic. Season 3 is by I think 4.
Yeah.
Whichever season. I
think they're up to 4.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe 5. I don't know.
I think technically they're on 7.
Jesus.
I think, but.
Time flies.
The ordering and the numbering is weird.
TV does that sometimes.
Whatever season Peridot comes in and starts to really muck things up, that's when it starts to get really good.
Yeah.
But I still hold that that what Steven Universe is trying to say is essentially that everyone should, I guess, love each other. Steven Universe essentially is pushing that. And you can call that agenda. You can call that whatever you want.
I know that because it's pushing some certain gender norms.
Well, it definitely is. It definitely
with the fusions, the fact that the gems are sexless, and that what are Garnet's halves?
Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah, the Pokemon Gen 3.
Yeah, Pokemon Gen 3.
It's heavily implied they're a couple, right?
Yeah, it's heavily implied they're a couple, and it's.
And I know that when they introduce Devani, they don't give them a gender.
Yeah, it's showing that these things are normal. It is okay.
You shouldn't be so uptight about those kind of classifications.
We really shouldn't. But it also gets into even beyond that heavy visible layer of stuff. They also talk about, like, how important it is to communicate during relationships, how complicated feelings and being able to express those feelings can be. I know
that Pearl, like, goes through some heartbreak.
Oh, Pearl goes through a ton of heartbreaks, and she's my favorite character. Yeah. I mean, she is.
What I've seen of the first couple episodes, these characters are fun. Like, my only problem is that Steven's a little too stupid for his own good.
That's my issue with season 1, where because
there are episodes where they're like, Steven, don't do that, and then he does it. I'm like, dude, I know you mean well, but come on.
Yeah.
So does he grow?
He grows.
That's
a
great.
Lot,
That's great. That won't have any problems.
My issue with season 1 was essentially that Steven is basically happy SpongeBob.
Total dope.
Yeah. And by the time season 2, he starts to...
And at least he's not a jerk, but it's still...
He's not a...
No, in the first season 1 so far, he hasn't been a jerk. He's always doing what he thinks is right, even if it makes things worse.
Steven always does what he thinks is right.
But that's a problem.
And he's coming from a very loving place.
Yeah.
The problem is that in later seasons, as he starts to grow and as he starts to figure out what his powers can do and what his mom essentially was trying to do, he takes on that burden, and it causes him to make some pretty poor decisions.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about this show, is that it kind of, it kind of doesn't pull any punches with these characters. It says that, sure, this character might be the strongest character there is that we have on this team. They also make pretty poor decisions, and they also make really dumb decisions.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody is perfect. And even one of the most bigoted characters on the show turns right around and probably has one of the strongest character arcs that I've seen.
All right, don't give me a name.
I'm not going to give you a name.
I'm not to the point where they start fleshing out the side characters.
I'm not giving you a name. I'm not telling you what happens. But even some of the most villainous...
I still got to finish watching Stranger Things.
Even one of the most villainous characters has a lot of emotion put behind him.
That's always cool.
Yeah. It's one of the most important shows I've seen.
That's something I touched on. One of the reasons I love Guardians 2 is they took... Like, I didn't like Nebula in the first Guardians, and then this is... You actually kind of feel bad for her, even though she's still a murderous psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, Thanos has done some fucked up shit to her.
Thanos is a fucked up character.
You told me, like, you're familiar with them. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what Avengers 3 and 4 do with those two together.
Yeah. But
and Loki, apparently he's going to be on Thanos' army. Like, these three...
Yeah, I'm not too happy about that, actually.
We'll see where he is by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else about Steven?
Watch it if you haven't. If you like that... I mean, I know a lot of people are gonna come and be like, it's an SJW show. Look, we all could use a little bit more happiness in our lives, and if you learn how to treat people right, you're pretty good.
I just think at its core, it's just a good show.
Yeah,
morals, regardless of the morals.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to be a good moral person?
It's funny. It has a good art style and a good diverse personality-wise, even characters.
Yeah,
imagination.
I think on its own, like it's very creative, very fun, and. It's very loving. I like that.
And I think you're aware of this. I've watched very little TV in the past couple of years, so I can't really give a fair one, other than I will say that I've started to catch up on shows that started a little while ago on Netflix, and the two I can easily recommend right now are obviously Stranger Things. I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in. It's a wonderful show. But also BoJack Horseman. I'm midway through the second season, and it is... maybe the best example of dramedy I can think of in adult animated shows. We have other shows like that, like Rick and Morty, but they are, and like shows like Futurama and Simpsons that touch on the dramatic element. This is more even-handed, but it doesn't feel totally out of place. It all feels hand in hand, and it's great because it's also all in service of a satire of celebrity and Hollywood culture and showing you how shitty that stuff really is.
What season are you on?
I'm only midway through the second season.
Okay. Have you gotten to the part where Beyonce comes in?
Do you mean the first season when she falls over?
Oh, shit. That's it. This first season. That shit was great.
All the single dollars.
My ankle. Oh, Lord.
They do random, sometimes it's impersonators, but sometimes they get, like, Naomi Watts plays herself. Character actress Margot Martindale plays herself. It's funny how pick and choose they are. And a lot of celebrities to play made up, like animal characters. Yeah. Like, BoJack is dating this owl in the second season, and Patrick, who's a big fan of the show, told me it's Lisa Kudrow. And I'll just say the bag of mulch joke is one of the best payoffs.
Oh, God.
Anyway, but so yeah, I'll say that. Next category, and Chris, I think we might actually be in unison on this. What was your favorite game of this year?
Mario Odyssey.
It's a tie.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey fucking rules.
It's fucking great. Now, I mean... Of course, there's Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild is probably my favorite Zelda game. It's gotten me into it.
It's the one that finally made you a Zelda fan.
It's made me interested in the Zelda. Yeah, I can go and play that game, and I'll have a great time. But Mario Odyssey rings the right bells with me.
I have, as a whole, always been a bigger Mario fan than a Zelda fan, and I feel like Galaxy 2 was the last true high point of the series for its main entries. Stuff like 3D World and the new Super Mario Bros. Games just weren't hitting that mark and feeling kind of derivative. This was that evolution. From the moment I saw that first trailer, I knew this was going to be what I had been asking for. Even when the gimmick was open levels in this 3D, in this real world. And then you heard me in the E3 episode, when they revealed what Cappy was really for in this new gimmick, I exploded even more. And then the more I learned, like, it's just dozens of moons, which are the stars in the world. Just find them at your leisure. Just do whatever you want. Explore. The emphasis is on exploration, but still a lot of just good surprises and fun and even wit.
Yeah.
There's still no voice acting in this, but this has some of the biggest laughs I've gotten in a non-RPG Mario. We talked about how funny Color Splash was, and I'm not going to give anything away, but the ending.
The ending's great.
I will say I still think my favorite Mario game of all time is Odyssey. I actually meant to say Galaxy, not Odyssey. Pass John. Learn your Marios. Because I feel like the post-game thing here is a little more like less of an emphasis to do so. In Galaxy, it's go play the whole thing as Luigi. I'm like, I love this. There's no filler. I'll do it. But I've never liked the ending to Galaxy. It tries to be ambitious, and it feels both out of place tonally and just too ambiguous. Like, I don't know what to take away from it. This is... It doesn't do anything that you can't understand, but I feel like for a lot of people it's going to be subverting expectations, both in the final playable moments and the literal last scene that some people got mad about. I laughed my ass off.
I thought it was cute.
I thought it was so funny. And
I didn't. I thought it was a little safe, but I thought it was also pretty cute.
No, I think what Peach says at the end is not what people will want, so that's not playing it safe. But the fact that...
I mean, I've seen that ending before, but that's why I say it's playing it safe. I'm sorry?
Not in Mario.
I mean, so it's still predictable.
Not for Mario fans. Their headcanons have been decimated now, and then some of them are pissed. Same thing. That's what some of the reasons people are mad with Last Jedi. But anyway, no, it's they do a great last. You think you get a formulaic last boss, then they're like, no, there's something more here, and I cannot go into details of it. And I will also say they do something with the audio where it's basically the end of a Sonic Adventure game.
Oh, it's totally Sonic Adventure.
I loved it. Loved it.
It's very good.
And then the last thing they throw that song into, it just makes it perfect. But the game as a whole is so imaginative, diverse. It keeps throwing new. Like, there's still not really a story to give it to you two, but there's still plenty of personality, and there's still plenty of imagination. There's still plenty of oh man moments and fan service. It's the most fan servicey main Mario game you'll ever see.
I've always bitched that there should be more story to a Mario game, and they've always like thrown that in Paper Mario and been like, you can have it here,
and they still could do more here. But this worked for me.
It still works, but at the same time, even though I complain and I whine that there should be more story to a Mario game, when I am actually playing a Mario game,
it's hard for that to matter.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I'm kind of like
it's only me. It's like boss cutscenes and opening and endings.
I'm kind of imposing my own. Well, I'm kind of wishing for my own like fan service of Mario. Yeah. But someone noted that if you like Banjo-Kazooie, this is Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64, and if it had a baby, and this is exactly what I forget who said that, but they're right on the money on that.
Yes,
and I'm like, it doesn't really need that crazy of a story. Yeah. It just needs to have good gameplay. I still would like it too,
but if this is the new norm going forward for how it does stories, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with
it too. Like I said, with it can still surprise you.
I can still
laugh.
I would still very much like a Super Princess Peach game, or I'm sorry,
a new one that's better.
I'm sorry, let me take that back. I would like a Super Princess game where all the princesses come together and do something awesome.
You know, I bet we're going to be seeing Pauline in like Mario Kart and stuff.
Oh, now. Totally.
She's not even a princess. She's a mayor.
Yeah. I would totally like to see like all of them together, like doing
Mayor
something
Carmen
awesome.
Sandiego. I told you, look at our wardrobe.
But having the freedom to basically do what you want and not be on a linear path, not be told like this is your task, this is your task, this is your task.
And actually I did love that in Galaxy.
Yeah.
But 64 and Sunshine did still technically do that because you can only do one at a time. And they would rearrange the level sometime. This is just like. No, it's pretty much all out here, except then, small spoiler, you beat the game, you do a thing that unlocks more stars in every level.
Yeah, you go at your own pace.
Yeah.
And I dig that a lot.
Yeah, the only downside is if you want to be completionist, it'll be a chore. You'll probably have to look up the last couple of stars.
Yep.
And the reward is not worth it. It never is in Mario games. But
well, I mean, I haven't got that far yet.
Unless you feel the journey is its own reward.
I feel the journey is its own reward.
I
know a lot of you are rolling your eyes because you're tired of hearing that, but I like that in Mario games, and I do I've dug 64, I've dug Galaxy, I've dug Mario 3D World, and I really dig Mario Odyssey.
We both skipped over Sunshine.
Yes.
That's the black sheep. I'm sorry.
Well, that's where we are with games.
Yeah, so we have I feel like these won't take quite as long. I don't know what yours is on this. I said, I don't know if you have one, favorite miscellaneous thing across pop culture.
What did I say?
Even real world like movements. Something anything important, like it can be movies, it can be an actual event. Just what is your favorite miscellaneous thing?
I went very very small here, and small's not the best word for it, but I went at home with this one. And my favorite thing was the Animator Grump that they did on YouTube. You know how they do like Game Grump animates?
Yeah. I've heard of this. I've watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But explain to people.
Well, essentially, like
I think people know who Game Grumps are.
Yeah, it's essentially the Game Grumps. A lot of animators got together and animated an entire episode of the anime.
It's been a common thing for people to animate like a 30 to 1 minute segment on their own.
Yeah, they do like tiny little sections.
But this was a collab.
This was a giant effort.
And I've seen bits of it. It looks great. It looks very fun. And it's because this has been a cool concept that's been going on for a little while now. There's been one because they've been doing with video game cartoons. No, there's been one for an episode of Super Mario World. I actually applied to it but didn't get in. But our old friend Todd did. Yeah, it's awesome. I remember him quoting in our dorm room.
Todd Chern.
Luigi, very talented animator. look them up.
Yeah, Todd Chern did a good job.
Also, one for what's the other video game one?
They did. They did for Mario. They definitely did one for Steven Universe. They did two for Steven Universe.
Okay, you know about that. But there's also for anime Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball.
Sailor Moon. They did the openings.
OG Dragon Ball.
Yep.
No, they did an episode.
Oh yeah. That's
Sailor
right.
Moon reanimate. And they did one for Dragon Ball 2. I think it was the old Ocean dub of the episodes. And truthfully, I'm going to say right now, because I've been thinking about this for a while, I'm interested in trying to figure out how to organize one myself, because I know one that would be right for it.
What are you thinking?
I know a good episode of the Donkey Kong Country cartoon.
Oh God,
we could animate it better. We could easily animate it better than the actual thing. And it is the one episode that I legitimately like because it does not involve that stupid crystal coconut. It still has terrible songs and stuff, but I'm going to look into how the best way to organize this because I think people can have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, an animated Grump. So it was. What are your reasons for particularly your favorite thing?
I like seeing other animators just let loose and have fun. I like seeing that, like the accessibility of the tools that are out here now, such as Toon Boom and Flash and Animate, or even TV Paint and all that good stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot of fun ones.
Like you can pick up a program, learn it, and express yourself as best as possible.
It's no longer a matter of money. It's just a matter of your time and commitment.
Yeah, it's still a matter of skill and a matter of what how much you can bring to the table. But seeing everyone's different interpretations of these two dudes going fucking bananas over this one game.
Which game was it?
It was Battle Kid.
Okay.
Yeah, and like there's this one boss level where
it drove them nuts.
Yeah, it drove Aaron nuts, and Danny's having a great time.
Yeah.
And like seeing all these talented animators get together and just give it their all. It's amazing.
I haven't seen all, but I watched one episode of their Heart of Darkness playthrough called Aaron Goes Berserk.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when where Aaron just breaks and screams, and Danny's just laughing his ass off. Whenever Aaron breaks, Danny revels in it.
This was one of those episodes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the Sonic 06? It's no use.
Yep.
It's no use. Yep. It's no use. Ah!
Yeah. That's
his voice is deeper than that. I don't know why I did that.
But yeah, it was pretty inspiring. I still watch it. Like every so often.
I'll watch the whole thing at some point.
Yeah.
And actually just
it's good.
I don't mean this to be a self-promotion, but I just told you, I just got accepted into an animation collab too. It's not one of a narrative, but we're both part of the Channel Federator Network, and they've done a thing in the past where it was, hey, have a bunch of different people animate all the Gen 1 Pokemon in their own styles for little animated shots.
Yeah.
And I just got 2 slots in a Gen 2 collaboration doing Don Fan and Skarmory, and I got to bring up, I watched the first one and got to Raichu and saw the artist's name in the corner. Chris, do you happen to know who that animator was that did Raichu?
No, I don't know who that guy is. Who could?
He was named Christopher Wade.
Oh, yeah, that was me.
He had very pumpkin jam eyes in Raichu.
Yeah,
he was a very Christopher Wade Raichu.
Yeah, I'm actually not very proud of that one.
I liked it.
I'm glad. I'm glad a lot of people liked it. I feel that I'll still learning how to. I'll still changing up my style.
I mean, I don't know how proud I'll be when I'm done because. Technically it's not the first full frame-by-frame thing I've done, but I have others that have been midway that I organized with demo reels to get it. Because they said, like, can you show us more actual animation than what you have? And I said, here's these... I'm doing one that's just a run cycle of Ratchet and Clank from them, recreating from one of the trailers for the PS4 game. The other is a clip of the Donkey Kong cartoon.
Yeah.
Because I think I said before, that shows a dumpster fire, but there are individual lines that are funny. Unfortunately, there's everything else surrounding it.
Yeah. When I did the Raichu animation, I was approaching animation in a different way. But afterwards, I got it critiqued by this guy named Howard Wimhurst. Have you heard of him?
No.
He does a whole bunch of animation tutorials online, and he also does consulting.
It's possible I've seen him. Is his channel called Howard?
It's called the Animators. It's not called the Animators Toolkit.
It's not AMB, is it?
No, it's not. I have to look it back up. But he's essentially a consultant for animation.
Did you send this to him and he asked for a critique or something?
I paid for a critique session for like an hour or two on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And we did it over Skype, and he gave me some neat ideas essentially on how I should like go forward in animation and just stop using.
Was this based on the finished Raichu?
This is based on the finished Raichu and a little bit of my.
Maybe I should do that with him once the Sun Fan and Skarmory thing are done.
Go for it. I mean, I think it's worth it.
I think so. But I'll tell you right now, my Skarmory thing might be pretty ambitious because it's gonna be like flying up around the Kelly chain. Don Fan, I'm basically recreating because he rolls up into a Sonic ball.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like rolling off a cliff straight out of the Sonic CD and the opening and the OVA.
No, cool.
And he's gonna come down and be all heavy and
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Animated Grump, check that out if you haven't already. I think it's the first result on YouTube. And so, my pick is a little more generalized, but still easy to understand. I feel like for the two forms of media that I'm most into, movies and video games, this was a stronger than average year. I feel like right out of the gate we started to have some big I failed to make write down a list, but right out of the gate we were starting to have some very strong titles. For game-wise, we had like Resident Evil 7, Horizon, a lot of good indie stuff as you'd expect. Oh, Breath of the Wild was in March, that early, and man, Nintendo's been so smart with this first year of the Switch.
Nintendo came out strong.
This has been a big comeback for them, and I had been saying, like, if this thing fails, I see them pulling the Sega. I don't think they're going anywhere for a little while now.
The Switch has done amazing.
It's still doing great.
Apparently, it's doing Wii numbers.
It's the gimmick. The gimmick genuinely works. It's following on the Wii U's ambitions and actually following through on it, and with better, less of an emphasis on motion control and dual screen, and
well, they actually have like a competitive device when it comes to like getting. When it comes to like tablets and stuff.
Well, if you notice from the Wii onward, Nintendo has been like, we're going to carve out our own niche rather than be a direct competitor with PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah,
Wii worked for them. Wii U it didn't. It's working for them again.
Yeah, because their competitors have always been like smart devices, not essentially like Microsoft or Sony. When they've already said so.
Well, since the iPhone became a thing.
Yeah.
Because the DS and Wii were before that.
Yeah. Well, they were like, we want to put our product into other people's hands.
Well, that also is why you started getting their properties on phones now. We got Mario, we got Fire Emblem, we just got Animal Crossing. I think they said there's something else. I'm sure there's something else in the works. We just don't know what yet.
Still waiting on the Pokemon for the Switch, like an actual Pokemon game for the Switch.
They confirmed it.
Have they?
Did you see at the last E3? They said there's no footage to show because they were finishing Ultra Sun and Moon, but they said the next generation will be for the Switch.
Yes!
We're finally going to technically get our first home console HD main Pokemon game.
Good.
Because they said the reason was they wanted it to be on portables. They're like, well, I get the feeling 3DS is on its way out.
Yeah,
we don't really have a choice. Yeah. It's still portable. Here we go.
Yeah, okay. I'm down.
And yeah, and like just into movies, I wish I was writing down, but I've seen, especially through this tail end, there's been a lot of great stuff coming out. We talked about Coco. I loved Last Jedi. Patrick and I also saw The Disaster Artist, which is fantastic. You don't need to like The Room or know anything about it to enjoy that movie.
That was Seth Rogen and
James Franco as Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen's in it, but it's a small role.
Yeah.
It's him and Dave Franco, his brother, playing. Oh, hi, Mark, that actor.
Gotcha.
Those guys are friends in real life, and so a lot of it is heavily inspired. Also, stay through the credits, and you see the real Tommy Wiseau appear.
Okay.
That was his one stipulation. Let me be in the movie for a minute.
Okay.
It's very funny and even heartfelt because it's a very even-handed portrayal of Tommy Wiseau, who's a person who fascinates me.
Yeah.
I can't make head or tails of him. I don't know what's going on in his head.
Yeah. Colin Bird actually introduced me to The Disaster Artist. I actually had no idea what The Room was. Yeah. I just knew the parody of it. I knew.
First thing I knew of it was when I saw the flower shop scene isolated on YouTube. Here you go, keep the change. Hi, doggy. And I was like, what is going on? What is this from?
Hi, Mark. That's the only thing I knew.
Let's go eat, huh?
Yeah.
I did not. Anyway, I think everybody knows those quotes if they haven't seen the movie. And it's cool, like, even if you haven't seen The Room, to get some context for a lot of the most famous parts. Because they do a one-to-one recreation of some of the scenes. And during the credits, they show them side by side. And a lot of fun cameos there, too. Into like the Denny, the weird kid who came out with them, is played by Josh Hutcherson. So, and I'm sorry I didn't come up with a full list, but hopefully you agree with me, like, even animation I touched on, I actually do think this was a weak year overall for animation, because there's a lot of like sequels, like Despicable Me 3, cash grabs like Emoji Movie, but then you got stuff like, I praised Lego Batman at the beginning of this year.
I heard
there's
Lego
some
Batman
good foreign movies that I still need to see, like The Breadwinner I'm hearing is fantastic, and some other, I'm forgetting the names of, like Europe had a strong year for animation.
The Breadwinner.
It's from the guys who made Song of the Sea.
Oh, I know.
It's like a Middle Eastern centered.
I think I know someone.
It's supposed to be fantastic.
I think I know someone who's working.
That's
on
awesome.
that.
Yeah, and of course, Coco to close out the year. They may have saved the best for last, at least in terms of the mass market films. Coco is spectacular. Go see it. And so I think we're coming down to some more personal categories. Now, we went on to this, and we don't have to take this too long. We've already got a long recording. But, Chris, what was your favorite episode or episodes of Sketch Watch Play in our first year or so of recording? And lean a little bit.
My favorite episode was the personal projects episode.
Okay, elaborate.
Yeah, well, we got a chance to talk about our personal projects.
It was a fun one to go to. It was nice to get inside each other's heads.
Yeah.
Like, because I had seen the Will of Monsters Animatic, so I knew the story of it, but I didn't know the impetus and history behind it. You had seen pictures of Spacious, and I think it was probably the first time you got a better idea of what I was going for with these characters.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about it.
By the way, I still intend to have that first short out by the end of December. I'm really excited about it. Also, I will say, I know two future guest stars, one probably very soon, and one at some point, and I'm sorry I'm getting the first one's names wrong, but I think he learned about us through you, Ben Reynolds.
Yeah.
Another indie artist who does like a lot of fan art. He has an indie comic and webtoon called Curse Slash. Fun guy with a fun art style. I reached out to him because he followed both me and the show. He said he would love to be on. We're not 100% sure. We think we might be doing Volt, Trial Legendary Defender.
Nice.
The other one, it's a ways off, but it would be a pretty notable one in terms of fan media and such. Patrick M. Seymour, who's an indie voice actor, I got him to play the male leads in Spacious, and I told you who he was because he's the character of Torque in the Freedom Planet. He is a huge he's best known for being in a lot of popular Minecraft machinima, something called My Street. They get like a lot of hits. He's a big Undertale fan. He voices Sans in a lot of things.
Nice.
And Papyrus too. I think my head voices for those two are him. And he said he's very swamped right now, but in a couple months he would love to be on. It sounds up his alley. And also props to him if he listens to this. Every time I post something about Spacious, he retweets it. He's got like 40K followers.
Nice.
I think he could be very keen in helping that get some sort of audience. And he and Kaylee Mills as well, the female lead. They've been nothing but cooperative and encouraging about this project. That means a lot to me, guys. And it'll be great to develop these characters more with you guys.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But anyway, my pick. I did a tie between two episodes. Maybe they weren't the most personal, but I feel like these were just they were like I feel like this is like Sketch Watch Play at its best, and they're both very lengthy, but they're just, I can't think of any part that I would consider dead air. It had a tie between our Marvel Cinematic Universe episode and our Sonic Cartoons episode.
All right, yeah.
Chris's last regular episode for the time being. Tyler, of course, he took his part in the show. He was on fire in this. The fact that we did that WWE discussion by accident, it was hilarious. We got into this whole Power Rangers semi-retrospective talking about the movie. And then just the fact that all three of us had great points to bring about. The fact that we all had our same number one. Yeah. And then, Tyler's really being like, I was there! And he really was. And just, we were on fire in that. And the Sonic episode, the fact that we were still able to get, the game discussion in, I feel like obviously Colin and I did a much more in-depth one because it was just that. And Colin is the living encyclopedia among the three of us when it comes to Sonic. Like, holy shit.
Colin has a lot of opinions.
He eats drinks. I feel like he eats drinks and breathes Sonic, even the parts of it he hates. Oh, also a little bit of self-promotion. Look up, I did a video about the crazy narrative of Sonic Forces. I actually did like the game, but the plot was a mess. And
I saw your review.
I actually do like the game, even though the reason not been good, but the plot was a mess in a way I couldn't have imagined. In some ways, it's worse than 06. More so tone than plot, I'd say.
It pulls a lot of weird cliches.
Stupid decisions.
I don't think that the cliches themselves were a problem. It's how they handle them.
They're very out of place.
Yeah.
But the game is fun.
Seeing, like you mentioned, seeing Sonic in a quote-unquote torture chamber.
And he's fine. And he has not been tortured.
Fine.
No.
I'm just like, I don't think you guys know what torture is. And I know you're trying to play it off as humorous, that this is not really torture.
You don't play torture off as humorous.
I'm like, but no, I'm not buying that.
But and so just the Sonic cartoons, like, I just love the fact that so many of these different shows we had different opinions on, but it worked well. Like, you really like Adventures. I don't, but we were okay with that. You really like Sad AM, and I like it, and we were okay with it. I really like the OVA, and you think it's okay, and we were on the same page with Boom and then X. I think you hate X. No, you hate X more than I do.
I do hate X,
but
I vehemently dislike X.
But it was all super entertaining. I just loved. I didn't mean to do it, but the fact that I kept pulling out voice actor reveals that were flooring you, like when I said Optimus Primal was Grounder, and your mic blew out. You're like. It sounded like you were like having like an asthma attack.
I still don't understand how that happened, but it happened. So.
It happens. He has range, and I love the fact that the one time I was like, "Yeah, Lena Universe was Amy," and you were like, "Yeah, okay." They can't all be good. But then the other time
they can't all be jams.
Roy Mustaine and his knuckles. What? What was one for Sad AM? Oh, Charlie Adler. And X. That's S with a failure. Oh yeah, no. Underground was that Double D did the singing voice of Sonic.
Oh boy.
But anyway, yeah. So I'd say those are two great episodes. Just if you've never listened to the show before, you want an idea of our chemistry. Not to say that these latest episodes with guests haven't been great. But you've been a very specific energy to this that I think is great, and I think it's also going to tie into my next. I don't know if you came up with this. Did you have a favorite moment in Sketch Watch Play?
All of my favorite moments are of Sketch Watch
Play
are my favorite. I'm kidding. There was a moment in our emotional movies episode, where we were talking about All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, the Anne Marie down blue. Is that that whole segment?
I think most of that episode was my favorite moment.
Loved it.
But hearing us talk about like what gets to us and crying things do get to me. But
unless it's Coco.
Yeah, unless it's Coco. I don't know.
Or Inside Out.
Or Inside Out. I don't know why. Those didn't hit me.
I don't know why I didn't cry Toy Story 3 or Up. Some things are forever a mystery.
Yeah, but being able to like open up with you are some of my favorite moments on the. Yeah,
I think we both got personal in that episode too. Like I think we used Gurren Lagann and Finding Dory to touch on some of our own issues, but I found in a way that wasn't too overbearing.
Yeah.
I actually say the heaviest thing we've ever done on our show is when we got into the whitewashing talk on Ghost in the Shell.
Oh boy.
Like,
God, I hate Ghost in the Shell.
Like, you weren't happy with that, but like, just everybody, especially Colin, just had some very harsh truths to lay out.
I have a coworker who is...
Hey, Colin, we love you, and I think that's a good episode. It's just that's the one thing I would say that wasn't fun, but it was necessary.
It was not fun, and I wish that Ghost in the Shell was better for it, but it's not. I have a coworker who tends to say some very problematic things every time or other. But it was kind of weird how we kind of agreed that Ghost in the Shell had that issue. Huh. And he's like, I don't like Ghost in the Shell because it whitewashes. And he has a Vietnamese wife.
That might have helped.
Yeah, and I think that might have helped in that regard.
If it targets the Asians, then he cares.
And I'm still like, huh. All right, I see you. I got you.
Let me put it this way: does he want the wall?
I think he does.
Well, there you go. On that note.
Anyway.
But yeah, the emotional episode, I think, those are both the emotional and Ghost in the Shell episodes are unorthodox for us, but I think they're both really good. Mm-hmm. And I'd recommend them both. But that's your first episode. But once you got to know us a little bit, and maybe listen to the Sonic episode so you know Colin a little better. I mean, we talked about other stuff before Ghost in the Shell. I'd say either one is a good introduction.
Watch all of them because they're all great.
Yeah, I'm being honest. There is an episode we've done that I've disliked.
Yeah,
there have been moments that I find are like dead air, or like at the end of Ghost in the Shell, like I don't need to really listen to that, but I feel like it's good that we did it.
Now let me ask you, and this is a bit of a surprise. I know I'm putting it on you. Go
for it.
My schedule is starting to slow down a little bit. When's a good time you'd like to have me back?
I was going to say we could start the schedule back up in the next couple of weeks because, okay, so they're recording this. I'm probably going to get the second half of Tyrone's episode out. Mm-hmm. And then I might put this back, put one out in between that. And Mark's episode was recorded a week ago, or last weekend. And that's going to be a very long one. I'll probably split it into two, because our first half we talk about Coco, miscellaneous things, including the Zootopia comic and the Fox Disney deal. And he also wanted to bring out, speaking of anime adaptations, the trailer for Alita Battle Angel, because he's a huge fan of the source material. So I'll put that up first, and then we do a big Final Fantasy retrospective. But while that is going up, I think we could start planning things. But I still want to talk, and maybe we could talk to Ben Reynolds, and he can join us.
Okay.
But I'm happy to hear that you think for the time being we can get back to our bi-weekly recording.
Things are starting to even out.
Let me give you the first hug I've ever given you, man.
Yay, hugs!
You're back, guys.
Yay!
Back. You won't hear it for a little while because we still got
not for a little while, but I am coming back. I just needed some time to take care of.
And you obviously you have full permission to take breaks again.
Yay!
But because real life prioritizes podcasts.
I'll give you a heads up next time. Sorry.
But no, I think the guest period worked out really well.
Cool.
All the stuff with we had Felipe and Patrick back. Mm-hmm. We had Mark for the first time. We had. Tyrone back solo. Mm-hmm. They all did a great job. I'm really happy with you guys, and it should the need happen again, I'm not going to be upset about that.
Okay.
Like I said, you do bring a unique energy, but it doesn't have to be the only energy.
Awesome.
So my favorite moment, I just went for pure humor. Mm-hmm. I went for two because I feel like one of them is the first time in our show's history that we just had a real gut buster, and one that I just think is just. I still crack up listening to it. Our Freakazoid episode, when you went into great detail about that's Uranus joke.
Oh boy!
You can hear me laughing crazy in that episode, but the fact that you just keep elaborating on this, it almost feels like you pre-wrote this thing.
I didn't.
Just talk about the most magical 6-year-old wrote this thing in a drawer. It's great improv. It's just this is what I mean about your great energy about just finding the right moments to say them in the funniest, most energized way.
It was so strange because me and Serena had watched it that morning, and we started a nice habit of.
And
watching
you weren't
Saturday
big on
morning.
Freakazoid in general, but that moment, it went...
That moment, I got it. I understood what Freakazoid meant to other people.
That was your one, I get it moment.
Yeah.
And Serena, I think you like Freakazoid more in general.
Oh, I love them. I loved them when I was a kid. Like all the jokes went over my head when I was little. But
some of the jokes just make no sense, period.
No, they don't. But it was just that just like surreal, kind of like irreverent, just... makes no sense, like has no point kind of humor that I absolutely love.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Serena's first full focus sentence on the show.
Yay!
Give her a proper hello.
Are you gonna do the? Are you gonna
no. I don't want to drown my own beautiful voice out.
Well, damn.
I'm very egotistical, you know me.
I only do one thing.
No, but there is one other thing that I think equals that. Particularly, like the whole part of it is funny, but the way it goes. When I first showed you Tannic the Hedgehog.
Oh boy, yeah. That was the thing.
This is the same.
I still want to meet that kid.
I don't know where he is.
Jeez.
He kind of went dead a while. He kept doing art and stuff for a little while, but then he just went dead. Maybe he got a job.
Maybe.
Like we said, he could be very talented now, but I don't think he wants to get teased anymore.
Okay.
And I don't blame him.
That's
for that,
understandable.
But Peter Wems, if you listen to this, yes, the thing was ironically entertaining, but we both agree you could be doing some really cool stuff now, wherever you are. And we do not hate you. Just like we do not hate Flammarion Ferreira.
I don't hate the guy. Honestly, we all have to start from somewhere.
Animation is hard.
Animation is hard.
Really, really fucking hard.
Writing is hard.
But god damn it, the fact that you have that Mortal Kombat scene and I just have this impromptu... I've seen this before, but I still have like... Chris is just going, oh my god. And you hear me, I'm having a fit of the giggles.
I think
I'm like a hyena.
It was gold, I thought. I mean, it was still jarring and out of nowhere.
It's enough for me to listen to myself and Chris.
If I was a kid, I would totally put the Mortal Kombat theme in that moment. Like,
I mean, if he did it better, it could have been genuine. But it's insane. The way he animates things and just writes these things is insane. And it's hilarious.
Yes, it is.
And just I want to do something random for that Sonic episode. I'm like, what's the craziest way to cap this off? And then I remembered. Tannic. Where is Tannic? And you immediately chime in. Why is he black? He's black as a shadow. The bad guy. Okay, so I would say this is the end of the awards, but Chris, I'm going to pull a Shyamalan on you. There's one more impromptu award, and if you do want to decline, you can. But ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to announce the first ever annual Sketch Watch Play Uncle Daddy Boyfriend Award.
Oh boy! Where
Chris has said in the past many times he may be a heterosexual male, and I may be as well. But what's that one male character in like a cartoon or game that stole our hearts? And you can still say it's Gladiolus if you want, but is there anybody else? Because I have one that's unorthodox.
And Serena is giving me the biggest.
She looks very curious. I'm curious too.
That stole my heart, like literally stole my heart.
It can be either the emotionally, or you're like, that's a hunky dude.
Goliath from Gargoyles.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say I meant did anything this year.
Oh, this year.
Maybe Goliath all time, and I get that. Keith David is a Keith David himself. Keith David is the embodiment of Uncle Daddy Boyfriend.
Goliath is a heartthrob. But I may have revealed something. But
cool.
this year. This year, what has come out this year?
Now you could still say just Gladiolus, even though, and for the record, people,
he's been out for a year. He's already been out since 2016.
I mean, in our first year of doing the show. Oh, she's whispering something. Does she have a nice suggestion?
Oh boy,
say it.
The fish guy from The Shape of Water, from Guillermo del Toro's new
Doug
film.
Jones, everybody. I haven't seen that movie yet. I want to.
It's good.
It looks interesting. Okay, mine's also unorthodox. It is both a character who I grew to love and. Maybe I won't say it's a sexy design, but I think it's a cool design. And that is Hector from Coco.
Hector from Coco.
A guy who is introduced as the town bum con artist. And goddamn if his story didn't tug at my heartstrings. And I can't spoil it, but it's also, I think, it was when I dwelled on his story afterwards. Because the same thing that I find Finding Dory so heartbreaking is that you think about how much suffering these two characters had to go through before finding a reward for it. And
he's a very charming man.
I think he's better looking without the skin, to be honest. And it's a cool design. Like, I love the fact that skeletons are always fun in animation. And Coco epitomized that with Hector. This is not a spoiler. There's a scene where him and Miguel have like a duet on stage, and they do the thing of detaching the parts. Like he puts his head on his spot on like his hips. He puts like he puts his spine on his arm. And it's just his animation is so much fun. His actor is so much fun. He gets a lot of the best jokes. His storyline is ultimately heartbreaking and powerful. And near the end, you see what a selfless character he is. And I felt for him. And I guess I can't say he's a hunk, but I love his design and what they do with it. So that is my close equivalent to an Uncle Daddy Boyfriend for this year.
The fish guy has a nice butt.
I wonder if that was Doug Jones' actual butt, because he's Guillermo del Toro's makeup man. Let me Google right now. Was it Doug Jones' butt?
How good is the butt? No, it's fine.
Right. But on that note, it's time to start bringing this to a close. I may have started this with breaking you down with this special.
Oh, yeah.
But I think discussing like the first year and 3 months of this show brought you back up. This has been such a fun project to keep going, and I actually did mean to ask you at the end if you had an idea of your schedule, and that's your Christmas present to me, I think. After we get, this will be up before the Mark episode. Apologies to Mark. I'll get that out as soon as you can, and you guys are in for a treat. Mark was great, and cool. I'd love to have every guest we've had. I'd love to have back at some point,
awesome.
And 3 of them I already have.
I'd love to hear them again because I've been going through.
4 guests. Patrick has been everybody, but Mark has been back. Mark, Tyrone, Patrick, Colin, and Felipe, and they're playing more. I know I want want to get it. And you are also welcome to reach out to friends, colleagues, people you admire. Felipe has encouraged in the past, like, reach out to people you admire, because I've tried that a little bit. I've gotten one polite rejection, but Patrick, I'm not close friends. Patrick Seymour, I'm not close friends with, but he'll be on at some point, hopefully.
Okay.
So, our next episode, so we have this. Look forward to our discussion with me and Mark about Coco, Alita Battle Angel, Final Fantasy, and a lot of Disney stuff.
Oh boy, Battle Angel. Yay.
He's more optimistic than you might expect.
Super.
But and I don't know what to make of it yet, because I'm not familiar with it. But and after that, we actually are not 100% sure what we'll do next. I'm going to reach out to Ben Reynolds and see if he wants to be on with me and Chris. If we do Voltron, if we do something else, he might have changed his mind. And after that, you know what? I think that I will let you have your choice. You decide, because it's been so long since you've been on, and I've known what my first pick would be once you come back on, because I think I told you already. Maybe forgot. It has long been one of my favorite movies ever, and now that you've seen it, it is now your favorite. You've said that it is now your favorite movie from that studio. We are going to do Hayao Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky.
We can do that. That'd be great.
But we're going to get some other stuff out of the way first. We're going to get Mark. We're going to get whatever the next episode is, be it Ben or Chris, and then we'll get to that.
We'll do that. That'd be great.
So I want to wish very happy holidays to everyone.
Yep.
Go do what your best holiday traditions are. Me, it's an excuse for, technically I may be agnostic, but I still value the season. I value the decorations, the ambiance. A good excuse for family reunions. Presents aren't too bad, too. And just the fact that, my brother and sister have moved away in recent years. Yes, Patrick has moved back home. Kieran's still distance away, and she still might stay distance away after she's done with college. I don't think she knows what she's doing just yet. So any excuse to spend a lot of time with them and my parents and the pets. We call it the zoo now. I've mentioned my parent in the past. He's living with my parents, Squawks, because I have some sleep issues, and he's a very noisy and early to bed, early to rise bird. But I still love him, and you guys haven't seen him, but I know you, Serena, you love Squawks, and you want to see Oakley, our dog. So maybe you will someday. I still love for you guys to meet the family and come down to camp or something sometime. But I look forward to this holiday season, and obviously it goes without saying that next year is still going to have its fair share of shitty news. But I've had a lot of, speaking personally, this has been a year of a lot of good personal landmarks, and I'm going to look back on it in a positive note.
Good. And
Chris, if you have anything you want to say about the holidays or to the audience for the year. You don't have to, but I'm
trying to think, because the only thing that comes to mind, we recently watched an episode. We recently watched a special with Patton Oswalt, sorry.
Remy.
Yeah.
Among many other things.
And he said something that I thought kind of resonates with all the shit that's happening. Why are we bad?
He had, what happened to him last year, right?
Oh yeah,
that was horrible. Poor guy.
It's crazy out here. So yeah, the best thing we can do is just remember that it's chaotic out here, but it's still okay to be kind to one another. You don't have to be a dick. We can lift each other up and not be total assholes.
And honestly, that's what I've always done. That's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to be me.
All right. High five.
They heard that. I'm trying to think of the best way to sum up such a touching little message. I know. You always win when you are good. Mrs. Mavilda, she's going to be okay.
She was not good, though.
No, there was no redemption for that.
No,
character.
there was not good. She actually earned that lightning bolt.
I'll do a bunch of line quotes. Now when you go through the window.
I'm going to the bathroom. I've been holding it for an hour. Happy holidays, everyone.
I better go now. So you can take good care of yourself, Judy. I will be back before Christmas.
Shut that door.
That's the best one. That's the best one. Guys, wait, Chris. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Shut that door.
Ah! She's gonna catch us out of bed.
Dilate.
Stop, pause that for a second. Can you pause that for a second?
Go back to that when the pupils dilated?
Yeah. No, just pause.
All right, wait. She looks like she's smelling a rancid fart.
There are many things happening because she turns. The cut is so quick. She is so monotone in delivering this
line. She gets normal eyes, but it looks out of place at this point.
Yeah, and then she turns. It's like
she also has the giraffe neck, so he's been bringing up.
You want the voice to match the expression.
Her nose gets an extra wrinkle. She is still Elmer Fudd in drag. Everything is wrong with this.
It's so weird how the editing was just like, oh, she's coming up the stairs, and your mind wants to read it. Holy shit, she's coming up the stairs!
We're gonna die!
She has a knife! She has a knife!
Don't go in there! All right.
I love
you all!